God bless Biafra. God bless Nnamdi Kanu for opening the eyes of many Nigerians to begin to reason like human beings. Yeah, guys, northern governors are now beginning to reason with Biafra. They are asking, they are begging that bandits should be wiped out of Nigeria. But let it not only be bandits, God, let it also be Fulani. Let's watch El Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, talking and saying it openly. I hope those other governors in the northern part of Nigeria will be wise enough, and then they will come to reason with one and only leader in Nigeria, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Welcome to another video, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Please, my returning subscribers, God bless you all, and I beg of you, those who are new here, please kindly subscribe. Don't go out without subscribing. God bless you all. Let's go and watch this video from Nigeria, from the northern part together.
The bandits and their leaders decided to collectively target Kaduna State because of the position we've taken that will not negotiate with them, will not give them a penny of taxpayers' money. And whoever comes to Kaduna for the purpose of banditry or kidnapping will most likely going to end up dead. We believe that the immediate solution to this problem is intensified military operations from the air or on the ground, and wipe all of them out. We do not think any bandit deserves to live, and we have made that very clear to the security agencies. I'm very pleased that the new chief of the air staff has continued bombardments of bandit camps in Niger, Nasarawa, Niger, Kaduna, Katsina, and Zamfara states, and the bandits are on the run. And I think with blocking force on the ground of the military and the police, we will get rid of these bandits in a matter of weeks by the grace of God. So it's going very well. We will not change our position. We sympathize with the victims. We commiserate with those that have lost loved ones. But the solution is not to put your own personal interest ahead of public interest. And what is in the public interest is to ensure that you don't empower your enemies by giving them money to buy more advanced weapons so that they pose a greater danger, not only to our troops and our policemen, but also to the larger society. We believe that very strongly. We have no doubt about that. We know that it will be painful for others, but it is our stand and it's the right stand. And indeed, when we got information that some people are pretending to negotiate with the bandits on our behalf, we have issued a statement that we are going to trace these people, we are going to prosecute them, because aiding and abetting kidnapping by giving money in the name of the state government is an offense under the penal code with the same penalty as kidnapping and brigandage itself. And we intend to pursue these people, we'll prosecute them, we'll make an example of them.
There is a linkage now between, we heard it from Governor Fayemi, we've heard it from the president's spokesperson of the security challenges that we have in the country, the insurgency in the northeast, the issue of banditry and cattle rustling that we're seeing in the northwest, some kidnapping situation that we're seeing in some part of the southern region of the country. And some people will say, these people are terrorists. Some others will say, oh, these people are fighting for some reasons, they are agitating. Would you refer to them as terrorists? And in all of these abduction and act of criminalities, at the bottom of it, Governor, what's your own take on the linkage?
No, absolutely. They are terrorists, no doubt about it. This is the position that we have held in the Kaduna state government as far back as 2.5 years ago. We insisted that these are insurgents, they are terrorists, they are fighting the sovereignty of Nigeria, and we must treat them as such. But some people who are being sentimental or, who are being too careful or too afraid of the so-called International Criminal Court and refusing to take the necessary step to wipe these guys out. But it is clear now that they are terrorists. It is also clear, it has been established that the kidnapping operations are substantially funding Boko Haram activities in the northeast. Boko Haram has no ways of financing. They have been ring-fenced by the army in the northeast. They have no way of getting any money. And this some of them have slipped and joined the ranks of the bandits, and together they are doing this to raise large amounts of money, which are being used to fund the intensified operations of Boko Haram business. It is an industry now. There are informants that get paid. There are petrol suppliers. There are drug suppliers. There are food suppliers. There are those that, supply them with weapons and ammunition. There are even doctors that treat them when they get bullet wounds. So it's an entire industry, but the bulk of the money is going towards terrorist financing. There is an outpost, a branch of ISWAP, Islamic State in West Africa province, called Ansaru, that is congregating in the forest in Birnungwari, led by one man and Abba. And their objectives are very similar to Boko Haram, except that they are not against Western education. They are against all symbols of authority. Their agenda is to bring down the Nigerian state and kill anyone in uniform or occupying public office. Luckily, the security agencies have arrested this Malam Abba. He's in custody, and a lot of his commanders have been killed in air operations, and we are pursuing them. But the most important finding is that the money from this kidnapping is substantially going towards funding terrorist operations of Ansaru in the northwest and Boko Haram in the northeast. So yes, there is a linkage that has been established by the security agencies. So they are terrorists.
We're hoping that these kids that were kidnapped will return home. But is there any update? What can you tell us about their whereabouts and the efforts of government in bringing them back home to their parents?
Well, the first few days of their kidnap, we knew where they were. They were surrounded by security forces, and our strategy then was to cut off logistics supply to them. If they run out of food and water, it would be easy to just walk in and get them. But we got some bad luck just as the military was preparing to go there. We had 2 days of bad weather. So the Air Force and our surveillance equipment could not fly, and they managed to slip through the encirclement by the military. So we lost them for a while. We know a few places that we suspect that they are there. We are trying to confirm that. And then, the necessary action will be taken. I don't want to go into any details for obvious reasons, because just as you are listening to me, the terrorists and their informants are also listening to me. But I want to assure you that the Kaduna state government is 9 students home. 2 of the students are in-service staff of Kaduna state government. They were sent there for their in the course of their in-service training. So 2 of them are my staff, 2 of the 39 kidnapped. And we are going to do everything we can to get them back home safely, other than, pay money. Every other option is on the table, but we will not pay a penny, we will not negotiate with them, we will not talk to them. We have the technology and the coercive instrument to locate them, to pursue them, and by the grace of God, we will rescue them.
Quickly before our first break, you've consistently maintained, and you've said it tonight also, the stance of your government on the issue of negotiation and what you will do to those who kidnap or abduct in the names of this banditry and all what have you. What other options do you have if the negotiation option is for you a no-no?
Look, the only option any civilized society has when it faces criminals is to apply the full weight of the law. Okay? There is no society, no civilized society that can sit back when its sovereignty is challenged, when its monopoly of coercive power is challenged. The first thing to do is to wipe out this bandit. This is war. We must fight them to the end. We must wipe them out. That is the first order of business. When you wipe out 95% of them, if 5% are ready to repent and go back to normal civilian life, then you can talk. But you don't talk to criminals the moment they start. You wipe them out significantly. There is no other option. There is no society that sits and negotiates with criminals. Nowhere in the world do you do that. You are empowering them, you are emboldening them, and you are going to make others think. Every criminal will think, if I threaten the Nigerian state enough to negotiate with me, it will give me amnesty, it will give me money, even though I have killed people, I have kidnapped people, I have destroyed lives and livelihoods. Sometimes they even collect the ransom and they still kill the people. So what are you doing? I really don't understand the people that say that money should be given to these kidnappers. There is no option. There is only one option, Shebu. That is the only logical and sensible option. All other options are irrational, emotional, and stupid, frankly, because you're empowering your enemy to kidnap more. Maybe you'll get your own relation. Maybe you'll get your own son if he's kidnapped by paying. But you're endangering many other sons because this man that you paid will now have more money to kidnap even more. No one will be safe in any society that succumbs to the threats of criminals. And Kaduna State government will not change its position.
We have many more issues to get your views on tonight, Governor El-Rufai, including some of the things that you are doing in Kaduna, and perhaps we'll take up a few, one or two political issues. But up next on the program, everyone, Governor El-Rufai is still with us on the program. He chaired the APC True Federalism Committee. But what has become of that report in the face of the urgent need for solutions to some of the challenges facing the country? The biggest one is insecurity. Find out more after this time out, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Governor Nasir El-Rufai is our guest tonight on the program and has been speaking to us from Kaduna. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your time tonight. Let me get your quick take on the issue of the security architecture. The president has given an order before he traveled to London. But in terms of the security architecture, is it a matter of recruitment or strategy? Which do you think is more critical between these, in your opinion, or what more important? At some point, there is a leader of the APC who said, look, let's have about 50,000 people recruited into the force. Some others will say, look, it's a matter of a lot of equipment that we need, an upgrade of the equipment for you urgently to fix some of these problems. What is more important?
Well, you know, when there are problems in life, it's very easy to look for one silver bullet. I don't think architecture has to do only with recruitment or strategy. I think technology is a key component. I don't know much about the strategy because I'm not a trained military officer or police officer or security expert. But I know that the Nigerian security architecture is seriously undermined. I'll just give one example. When we came into office in 2015, we had 13,000 policemen in Kaduna State, and we needed 20,000. I had written the IG to say we need at least 20,000 because we thought we had about 8 million people then in Kaduna. Now we're talking in excess of 10 million. So 2015, it was 13,000. Today, there are only 11,000 policemen in Kaduna because of retirements, deaths, transfers, and so on, without replacement. The number of policemen has been decimated. That is one. I think the similar thing applies to the armed forces. They are losing men in the northeast. They are losing men to bandits in the northwest and all over. And the Nigerian armed forces are involved in internal security operations and seriously stretched across the country. The last time I checked, Nigerian armed forces are involved in internal security operations in 34 states out of 36 in Nigeria. That is really overstretching the capacity of the armed forces. And they have not been recruiting as rapidly as they should. The police has not been recruiting. The Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police are in court over who should recruit. We have not had any recruitment of men and women into the police in the last 5-6 years. So there is a manpower problem clearly. There is a training problem associated with that because there isn't enough training, particularly for the police. The army, the armed forces are more serious about training, but the police leadership has not taken training seriously enough. So there is that problem of manpower and training, okay, together, because to have manpower without training is just putting people out to be killed. But there is also the issue of technology. We need more advanced weapons. We need arms and munitions and ordnance in enough quantities for this manpower to be effective. And anytime you have a shortage of manpower, you can cover it up by using advanced technology. So Nigeria needs to buy more advanced weapons. AK-47 is not the best assault rifle for us to face bandits. They have AK-47. Some of them even have AK-49. We should get our soldiers, our policemen, something superior to AK-47. We should use drones with payload that can bomb the bandits. We don't have to use helicopters and aircraft that cost tens of millions of dollars. We can just buy drones that cost a fraction of that can carry missiles and have far more impact. So we need to upgrade the technology with the military. We have not supplied all the technological and armament support we should to our armed forces and the police, and we need to do that. Now, if you do something about curing the manpower and training deficit, and you do something about the armament and technology, as well as the welfare of the armed forces and the police, then you can talk about whether the strategy is right or wrong. I have no insights into the military or security strategy, so I can't comment on that. But I do not believe that with the people we have and the training that they have and the education that they have, developing a strategy is an issue. I think the binding constraint to the performance of the Nigerian armed forces and the police actually is a matter of manpower and training, as well as armaments and technology. If we can solve those, and those can be solved fairly quickly because we can ramp up recruitment. As Siwaju Tinubu said, we should recruit 50 million. I think he probably meant another number because 50 million is 1/4 of the population of Nigeria. So it doesn't.
He said 50,000. He corrected to say 50,000.
Okay, 50,000 in the police, maybe. Even if you add 50,000 to the police, you are just replacing what has been lost. The Nigerian army is what, 100,000? The Nigerian Air Force even smaller. The Navy even smaller. We need to double these numbers. We need to train them because doubling the numbers is not enough. You have to give them the best training and then get the most advanced weaponry. In the short term, the only solution is to get advanced weaponry because you cannot train people overnight. We can have some collaboration, but you need to just have a plan to train more people. We have, as state governors, we have proposed that state policing be allowed because if state policing is allowed overnight, we can double the footprint of the police all across the country. Right now, most state governments bear the burden of the police anyway. The federal government only pays their salaries. Most of their overheads, their running costs, the vehicles that they use, the communications equipment that they use, were bought by state governments. Not just Kaduna State, every state government, more or less bears the burden of the operating cost of the police. Their budget only ends in Abuja. It doesn't come to the states. So if we are doing that already, why can't we have our own state police? And having state police will automatically convert the vigilance service and so on into policemen that will double the footprint. And the police is a symbol of authority, and we need them in every nook and cranny of the state, of our state and our country, and that is the way to go. But in the short term, before we can get those hired and trained, we need to acquire advanced weaponry for the Army, for the Air Force, for the Navy, and we need to do it like yesterday.
I have some quick questions, and I wanted to wrap up quickly on the issue of security. But when you're talking about the issue of state policing, it reminded me of the report you submitted to your party on the true federalism. Yeah. Part of the recommendation is how the nation should handle policing in the country. That report, we've not heard anything about it. What has become of that report and the solutions that have been suggested in that report? Your party is a party in power and has the opportunity to take action and urgent ones, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and action is being taken. I'm happy to report to you, maybe, Shegun, you have not noticed, but the bill to amend the constitution to introduce state police has already passed second reading in the Senate, and in the House of Reps there is a similar initiative. One of our senators from Kaduna is the one pushing the bill to allow for state policing. There are about 4 bills. One is to amend the constitution to remove policing from the exclusive list. Another is to amend the Police Service Commission to create state police service commissions as well as federal police service commissions. The other is to amend the Police Act to remove the exclusivity of the police with federal government. And it has already scaled first reading. It's a second reading. Very soon, people will be invited for public hearing. So our party members in the National Assembly have already picked the gauntlet and are moving with that. And it will soon happen. One of our recommendations also is to, decentralize and federalize our judiciary, which is a unitary judiciary in a federal system, a very, very interesting animal. There is no country in the world that is a federation that operates a unitary judiciary but Nigeria, under the auspices of the NJC. And one of our senators, Senator Sule, has already drafted and is introducing a bill in the Senate to centralize the judiciary. So there is a lot going on. Some of our recommendations, like taking the minimum wage out of the exclusive list and putting it to the concurrent list, so that states can legislate the minimum wage they can afford, while the federal government legislates the minimum wage that it can pay, because we don't all have the same resources. We don't have the same level of the cost of living. Rivers State has more money than Zamfara State, and cost of living in Rivers is not the same as in Zamfara State. So, there is a lot of work going on to implement that true federalism report in the last three months.
All right.
One of our recommendations also is to look at the local government system, make local governments more autonomous, but more importantly, to amend the constitution to give each state the power to design a local government that fits its own circumstances. Because in local governance, one size doesn't fit all. We all come from different governance traditions at the local level and community level. And you cannot legislate one local government system. And work has started on that. We believe that each state should choose the local government that is best suited to it. For instance, here in Kaduna State, we have several metropolitan areas. 2/3 of the population of Kaduna State live in 3 cities, Zaria, Kaduna, and Kafanchan. And these cities are cannibalized between 3 to 4 local governments. And you cannot manage a city with decentralized powers and decentralized responsibilities. That is why many of our cities are totally dysfunctional. We need to centralize the governance of cities in one person, probably a mayor or an appointed administrator or something like that. Lagos has several local governments, but it is one metropolis that should be managed centrally. And what has happened with the cannibalization and creation of multiple local governments within cities is for the local governments to avoid their responsibilities and leave the investment and the running of capital cities to the states. We are looking at the constitution as it is, even without the amendments to the local government system, to come up with laws that will establish metropolitan authorities so that together with the local government councils, they will centrally manage our cities. Because, drainage, water, garbage does not know boundaries between local governments. If you go to Lagos, you don't even know where one local government begins and one local government ends. It is one city, it is one metropolis, it should be managed centrally. And if the constitution had not bound our hands, we would have had mayors in Kaduna, Kafanchan, and Zaria. But the constitution has bound our hands, but we'll find a way within the current constitutional framework to create central authorities to manage our cities, because our cities are falling apart because of this. So there are many things in the constitution that need to be looked at, and they are being looked at. And this bill led by APC senators and members of the House of Reps like the minimum wage is a member from Kaduna, the Honorable Garba Daiti, who started work on that, and it has already scaled first reading, and is on its way to being passed by the National Assembly. As soon as these bills are passed, they will come to the states, and we are confident that we'll be able to get 24 states to support that. The solution to our security problem is partly state policy, and we are working on that by the grace of God.
I actually wish that I could go into the economy and trade issue of commerce in Kaduna State, but I'm being told that I have just about 60 seconds to end this session. But on the final note, Governor, if you can help me within 60 seconds, I understand that you now release daily security updates for Kaduna. And in fact, we are in April now, early April. In March, you released another one. If you can give us an understanding of what stood out in that report. Was the issue of Zagun Qatar peace plan also captured in it? And what can you tell us about that?
Well, look, we've had security challenges in this state since we came into office. Unfortunately, there are mischievous elements, politicians that have lost out, that are trying to give the impression that the insecurity in Kaduna has to do only with southern Kaduna, and there is some kind of genocidal agenda against people of southern Kaduna. We decided to start, and it's a complete lie. It's a complete lie, because yes, there is insecurity in southern Kaduna, but it's nowhere near the levels of insecurity in northern and central Kaduna. So we decided to start giving daily security updates and also annual security updates. And indeed, next week, our Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs is going to address the media and give a quarterly, because from January 1st to 31st March, we have records of all the security incidents that the Commissioner Samuel Arwan will present. It is to give lie to the narrative that there is more insecurity in southern Kaduna, because that's what the media in Lagos prefers to put on its front pages, and forget the killings and the kidnappings and the murders in northern and central Kaduna. When villages are wiped out in Zamfara or Katsina, it's not reported because it is Muslims killing Muslims. But the moment it is Muslims and Christians, that is what is interesting. And there are people in southern Kaduna that are passing this narrative, not only nationally, but even globally, and getting donations of millions of dollars in the name of genocide. Oh, we are being killed. Oh, we are doing that. By the time we issued our security report for 2020, that documented all the security incidents, from kidnappings to cattle rustling to murders to this, that, it was very clear that most of the insecurity was in central Kaduna, followed by northern Kaduna, and southern Kaduna is actually the safest part of the state. And many people, like the chairman of CAN of Kaduna, who is a PDP apparatchik, has been complaining that we are talking too much. I've never known a democratic society where too much information is a crime. But you know what? He doesn't like it because we are putting him out of business, because they are the ones that are passing this narrative of the genocide against Christians. The numbers show that he's a liar, and people like him are liars. And that's why they don't like it. And we'll continue to do this. As I said, in a few days, Arwan will present the first quarter report, and we'll be sharing this data with the media, because there is nothing to hide. I think security is the collective duty of everyone, and the more people know,